Blood ran through the streets of Tudor London not just from plague or public executions, but from a series of murders so methodical they remained hidden in plain sight for centuries. Behind the pageantry and progress of Elizabeth's glorious reign lurked a shadow that historians have only recently begun to uncover. In the autumn of 1587, as England celebrated the defeat of the Spanish Armada and London pulsed with patriotic fervor, 5 bodies were discovered in the span of 3 weeks. All were found in the same curious position, arms crossed over their chests, eyes carefully closed, a silver sixpence placed beneath their tongues. Most disturbing of all, each victim's right index finger had been meticulously removed. These weren't random victims. Each was connected to the Royal Mint, the institution responsible for England's currency reform that had begun under Henry VIII and continued under Elizabeth. The first to die was Thomas Egerton, a mid-level accountant whose detailed ledgers had recently shown concerning discrepancies. Next was William Cook, a silversmith contracted to engrave coin plates. Then came George Bellamy, a night watchman, Richard Hartwell, a merchant who supplied metals, and finally, Anne Wentworth, a cleaning woman who had worked at the mint for over 20 years. London in 1587 lacked organized policing. Criminal investigations fell to local constables, men of varying competence who were easily influenced by those with wealth and power. The murders might have remained separate incidents, unremarkable in a city where death was commonplace, if not for the keen observations of Francis Langley, a minor court official with an uncommonly methodical mind. Langley had been tasked with auditing the mint's operations, a routine procedure that normally attracted little attention. But as he pieced together financial records and employee statements, a disturbing pattern emerged. For years, someone within the mint had been orchestrating a sophisticated scheme, skimming precious metals and debasing the coinage by minute, nearly undetectable amounts. The scale was staggering. Calculations suggested that over a decade, enough silver had disappeared to fund a small war. Gold meant for the Queen's coffers had evaporated like morning mist. But who was behind it? The logical suspects were the victims themselves. Yet Langley's investigation suggested something far more troubling. The victims weren't perpetrators but witnesses, each having glimpsed some fragment of a larger conspiracy. Most intriguing was Langley's discovery of a recurring symbol in the margins of various mint documents, a stylized rose with 7 petals, reminiscent of but distinct from the Tudor rose. The same mark had been found, nearly invisible, carved behind the right ear of each victim. As Langley drew closer to the truth, the broader historical context added layers of intrigue. Elizabeth's government was funding covert operations against Spain and supporting Protestant rebellions across Europe. The Crown needed money, vast sums of it, and operated through shadowy networks of bankers, merchants, and spies. The murders stopped as suddenly as they had begun. Langley's investigation was abruptly terminated by direct order of Sir Francis Walsingham, Elizabeth's spymaster and the head of her intelligence network. All documents relating to the case were confiscated. Langley himself was reassigned to a remote customs house in Cornwall, effectively silenced. The final entry in Langley's personal diary, discovered centuries later hidden within the binding of a prayer book, poses a question that has never been answered. What troubles me is not what was stolen, but where it went. And under whose authority? The truth may lie buried in state archives or private collections, waiting to be discovered. Was this simply an elaborate embezzlement scheme? Or something far more significant, a secret operation to fund England's shadow war against its enemies, sanctioned at the highest levels? And what of the missing fingers, the silver coins under tongues, the 7-petaled rose? Some secrets of Tudor London remain locked in darkness, their truths just beyond our reach.